Hey guys, I'm Adam from Top Dog, and I'm going to jump right in and explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. This video is a video about an exercise we call parking the dog. What you're going to see me do is thread the leash under my foot, and I'm only going to leave enough distance to where the dog can slightly stand up, maybe about 3/4 of the way. I don't want the dog to be able to stand up all the way. This is an exercise that we frequently do and that we frequently instruct our students and folks that we're working with online, things like that. We really instruct a lot of people to participate in this exercise. Now, I'm going to film it start to finish, so I apologize if I bumble or anything like that. There's not going to be any editing in this video at all, because I want you guys to see this process start to finish. This is Bagheera's first time ever doing this exercise, and as you can see, he can't fully stand up. I'm going to explain all the benefits. First, I want to explain some of the mechanics. So the first part of this, the important part here, is that I have the leash just short enough to where he cannot fully stand up. The most comfortable thing for him to do right now is going to be to lay down. And that's what the goal of this exercise is to condition the dog to lay down. Now, again, like I said, we call this parking the dog. Some other trainers call it sit on the dog. And those folks actually thread the leash under their rear on the chair, and then they get the same kind of results. I personally prefer under the foot because I feel like it gives us just a little bit more leverage if the dog really starts pulling and struggling with this. You know, Bagheera is a pretty strong dog, and you saw he moved my foot just a little bit when he started pulling, going the other direction. I want to make sure that I can be as still as possible during this exercise. Now, like I said, the mechanics are pretty simple. Short leash, not so short that we're sucking him down to the ground, but just short enough to where he can't stand up comfortably. Second important principle of this is that I am not coaching him at all. Every other exercise we do, just about, we coach the dog. We teach him to sit, lay down, go to their place, all that stuff. In this exercise, the dog is learning themselves how to self-soothe, how to self-comfort, how to settle down without any instruction. So I don't tell him to lay down right now. I want him to learn on his own that when I get boring, he should get boring and settle in. Again, like I said, this is a very important principle for our students to learn. To be honest, it's probably the most underestimated exercise that we teach anybody to do. A lot of folks are impressed when we'll get a dog in for a board and train, and within just a few days, we're able to start taking them out in public for some socialization exercises and things like that. It's because we teach them how to do this. A dog that doesn't have very much impulse control can learn this exercise relatively quickly. It takes a few days for them to get really good at it. But then they can go from there, and now we can start taking them out in public, and they'll learn when I sit down and I get boring, you need to sit down and get boring. This is great for dogs that are constantly getting into trouble and stuff like that. This helps teach dogs to shut down their brain just a little bit more often. And again, it also teaches him how to do all that without needing constant instructions from me. So many dogs need that constant direction, those constant instructions, you know, sit, go to your bed, all that stuff. Whereas this exercise is all about him learning how to just self-control, self-master. And so again, what happens here is it's just self-reinforcement. The leash has a little bit of downward pressure, so he's going to figure it out that standing here like this statue is not the most comfortable thing, and then eventually he'll lay down. Now, some dogs try different things. I'm going to tell you right now, the hardest part of this is ignoring the dog, okay? When the dog does the right thing, in my head I'm going to be doing cartwheels. As soon as he lays down, I'm going to be thinking, yay, good job. And all my other training, that's normally when I would reward him with something. Well, in this situation, I don't reward him. It's self-rewarding, self-reinforcing. He lays down, he loses the pressure on the leash. Ah, there we go. So I don't have the timer going right now, but I'll be interested to see how long that took him. It takes different dogs different amounts of time. Please give your dog a chance. I've had times where it's taken me several hours to get through this. So if you've got a really rambunctious dog and you want to start creating a calmer dog, I want you to do this exercise, but give your dog a chance. Set aside some time on a Saturday afternoon where you can commit to this for an hour or two if you have to. The longest I've ever had to do this was almost 3 hours with a really rambunctious Labrador. I had to sit down and she just was constantly fighting. She was chewing on the leash, all that stuff. We did it that first day, and in that period of time, like I said, that 3 hours, I finally got her to lay down for a couple minutes, and that was it. The next day, she more than tripled the amount of time that she laid down. The next day, she, I think, tripled again. And so it got to the point where very quickly, in a half-hour time frame, she was laying down for 26, 27 of those minutes after maybe just 4 or 5 days. So you start to see some results pretty quick in this exercise. Now again, in my mind, one of the hard things for me as a trainer is I like to reward when the dog does the thing that I want. You have to remember, the dog just rewarded itself. It's no longer uncomfortable from standing up and having that leash tension pulling down on it. So here, he's self-rewarding. This is the most comfortable thing for him to be doing right now. Now, whenever I do this, I always plan to do it for a minimum of 30 minutes. As dogs get a little bit better, I might shorten that up a little bit, but his first session today is going to be 30 minutes. I'm probably not going to have the camera roll that entire time, but that is how long it's going to be for him. A couple of very important reminders. Like I said, you want your foot to be cemented down to the ground. The dog can't feel like they can move that leash at all. If they can feel like they move it at all, then they're going to fight it more, they're going to be moving more, they're going to be pulling and things like that. Secondly, I don't tell him good boy, I don't touch him, I don't really even look at him. He's learning that right now, I'm not paying attention. He's not the most important thing in the room. I'm doing something else, so he can't all of a sudden try to demand attention from me or anything. Lastly is when I'm ready to quit this exercise, which it doesn't look like it's going to be too big of an issue with Bagheera, but when I'm ready to stop this exercise, I always have to end on a good note. So let's say, like I said, that my goal today is going to be to go for 30 minutes, and at 29 minutes he gets restless and stands up. Well, guess what? I need to wait until he settles back down before I continue the exercise, or before I end the exercise, I'm sorry. So, like right now, let's say I were ready to end. I couldn't. Too bad. I got to wait until he settles back down before I can end this exercise. If you end on a note where he's standing up, you're going to find that the next day you don't have a ton of improvement, because the dog is thinking, well, yeah, when I stood up and I was pulling and getting restless, that's when the exercise ended, so that must be kind of how I get out of it. We don't want that. We want to, when the dog is nice, settled in and calm, we're going to calmly get up, leave, go on about our business and do the next thing that we were planning on doing. Still no reward for the dog, still no major interaction. This is all about creating more calm, structured energy with the dog. The dog tries to solicit attention from me, like right now, he's trying to be cute, lick my hand, things like that. I ignore him. Again, he's learning that this is not about him at all. He's learning that I'm boring. He doesn't get to be the star of the show right now. He needs to be boring. Let's see. Another really important note, the only time that I really do interact with the dog is if they start chewing on the leash, chewing on my shoe, chewing on the chair. I'll reach down, correct the dog. I've had times where I've had to correct the dog 12 or 15 times, and I'm still very robotic about it though. Like I said, we want to kind of be a statue. Reach down, pull that mouth off, reach down, pull that mouth off. I'm not doing as much correction as I would in maybe a different exercise, because this is all about the dog just learning, again, that they have to master this themselves. We're not going to give them direction. They have to figure this game out all on their own. We're going to settle in again, wait until he settles in. I'm going to do a quick recap. 1, leash length needs to be short enough that the dog cannot fully stand up comfortably. We want just slight downward pressure. 2, I don't look at, I don't play with, I don't talk to the dog, I don't give the dog any kind of rewards, I don't have any rewards on me. And when I start doing this, I want to do it in a very sterile environment. And then last, I want to make sure that when it's time for us to end, even if the timer says, boom, my 30 minutes is up, doesn't matter. I need to make sure that he's in this state of mind before I end the exercise for at least a couple minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. He has to have been settled in before I can end the exercise. Guys, like I said, this is a very underestimated command. I hope you'll try it with your dog because we see amazing results. It's probably our biggest secret to how we're able to get dogs out in public so quickly and go to some of our favorite outdoor cafes and things like that, because even before the dog has learned all their obedience commands, they can learn to have some self-control when we're performing this exercise pretty quickly. And so that way when we're boring, they're boring. They learn that the world does not revolve around them and that they can't demand attention from us. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe down below. If you have any other questions, feel free to shoot us an email over at topdogtexas.com. That's our website. You can find some other helpful things like our blog and some videos and training tips, things like that. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/topdogprofessionaltraining. Thanks again for watching, guys. All right, guys, so my 30 minutes is up. Big Ear and I have been practicing this for a while now. He got up about 6 times throughout the exercise, would stand up for a couple minutes, then lay back down. I guarantee tomorrow when I do this again, he's gonna get up even fewer and spend more of that time laying down. This is a great opportunity for you to stop and read something. You can sit down with your laptop, your phone, anything like that. I'm not saying when you're practicing this exercise that you have to not be doing anything. You can still be productive during this time. This is most of the time when I try to catch up on reading some of my favorite training books or some emails, text messages, things like that. So he's been laying down for several minutes now. The timer just hit 30 minutes, so I know that I'm good to go. I can get up because he's been laying down for several minutes. And again, like I said, no reward here, nothing. This was all self-taught. I didn't teach him anything. I get up, walk away, and we're done.